My name is Ron Rosoff. I'll be the featured reader today. I'll be reading these in chronological order. People rarely hear me read rhyme poetry, and they've heard me gripe about rhyme poetry. So naturally, I'm going to start off by reading a rhyme poem. If you ever read at the Green Mill in Chicago where they have poetry slams, that's where they were invented. Mark Smith, who invented slam poetry, will announce to the crowd, if you can guess the end of the rhyme, feel free to yell it out. So anybody that reads rhyme poetry at the Green Mill in Chicago is taking a real personal risk. This piece is called Greenwich Village. Do you feel wise enough to follow me through this land of fog and falsity? Once wise was I to go and see children playing the game of iniquity. Dare you cross that line, risk losing your soul, end up drugged in some tenement shoal, playing lifeless games with a twisted mind, the things once loved left too far behind? Many worlds blur and interpose, forgetfully you walk through this Eden you chose. Did you really choose it? Or was it a floating straw that a gasping soul clings to, bleeding and raw? Are you here for a mirror, perhaps its reflection? Then why is some image beyond your detection? The search is sometimes for a fameful death, a martyr's glory in a body's last breath. Beliefs are strong and the needs flow deep. Reliefs never long and the creeds are cheap, for senses are dulled or overwrought. Euphoria and wisdom can be found or bought. Pennies bring you to where I now sit. Entrance is free, exit costs yet a bit. Like the minnow trap, the exit is smaller, and your ego soon goes rather larger and taller. Many seem confused or too sure of their needs. What you hear from their mouth isn't shown in their deeds. Then one day alone you'll find the clue that all is not so as was told to you. To try to count what this life stole as you fearfully ponder your chosen role. Questions soon leave your confidence rotten. You'll meet your old self in a face you've forgotten. That face from sometime you nostalgically smile as you desperately keep running the 3 lifetime mile. Tell them of all you've seen and done. Tell of the hell you've been calling fun. Try to show what you've learned or gained, but don't tell of your mind that's been shaken in pain. The disillusionment in your murdered hoping, the months of toil and blinded groping from people to drugs you frantically tried to find another answer when you found that they lied. These types I mentioned can be found anywhere, but there are so many more, and they're all experts, those here. For excellence means survival, even you were a tool. Love betrayed casually is most often the rule. For the sinners here take a different shape. It's not your body, it's your soul they'll oftentimes rape. No, you can get lost getting over your head. Then you're helpless, you're doomed, you're better off insane.
Escape the risk.
Okay, moving on. Okay. It's called Autumn is Liz's Season. In her every aspect, the color of her hair and eyes, her wardrobe and her most intimate scent, bridging the humid languor of summer and winter's brittle tension, autumn is Liz's season. Her nude body gently warms the cooling air of early fall. With hardly a cover in this rare and perfect weather, she seems fuller, more complete, complementing every sense. Watching her sleeping as I left this morning, I kissed her mouth, her eyes, her forehead, her thigh, and her calf. Snuggled in sleep, she accepted them, moving with a shy, almost timid reticence. Arms folded around the pillow, she held something I could not see. Needing to be held and yearning to hold, her sad beauty stirred something in me, confusing in its innocence. Her beloved father is so long dead, and fall is so sensually like her. Gently falls my kiss, then my footsteps. A bientôt, Liz. This next piece sort of inspired by some of the early beat poets. I didn't write it with that in mind. I just read what I had written and went, oh, okay, there's a category for that. It's called Relief. Body sickness shrinks energy, skin tight around repression. Needs throb heavily through a haze of washed-out fantasy. Each labored breath pulls stomach muscles taut with fear. These words fill in gaps left by loneliness and emptiness. Body tides ebb, leaving imagined relief beached by its own weight on a defensive tongue. This is a piece called The Need. It felt like a compulsion, the need to tell you I too desired a child. I heard your regret months ago. Simple words dropped casually in conversation. I'll probably never have children. But fear choked my feelings, robbing me of words, leaving only empty glances. Today, even lunch with me is an imposition. Would it have mattered, or do you yearn for the perfection only the mind can bring? Perhaps my foolishness followed my ability to see how beautiful a child of ours could be. Or were you like me, so fearful of creating anything in your own image that even words flung on a page, less evidence of creation than warnings of danger and humiliation? Remembering love, savoring its transient sweetness, long ago tenderly embracing a lover, passion spent, considering her words smiling, feeling worthy and ready. Think how beautiful the baby would be before she and her words vanished from my life. Now, fear saddled, times rambunctious, my spirit shaking free, demanding attention, expression in all its forms beckoning, as I ignored the reality of your affection. My foolishness followed my ability to see how beautiful a child of ours could be. This next piece is called Puppy Love. It was written on a Thursday on a Chicago elevated train. Both their parents smiled and whispered puppy love to 11-year-olds standing awkward, toes turning inward, holding hands as they walked to the candy store. It began the previous year in the midst of summer, a quick pecking of lips and embarrassed smiles, trading keychains they braided as tokens of love. Their camp had a fair and they got married under a sign that read, "Get hitched, 3 credits." They did it twice for the sealing kiss, playing adults making that lifelong pledge. Her name was Rosalind, with dark curly hair and a small round mole on her chin. It looked like a dot on her pretty face he remembered seeing on a movie star. Her in a dress was a pleasant surprise after the sandals, t-shirts, and pants she wore for those 3 happy weeks in the Connecticut woods. Her name was Rosalind, and they would probably have called her Roz. But he didn't go to camp for 2 summers. He missed his first girlfriend who lived up a hill and didn't look down on a kid from the slums. He missed her that second summer, and after weeks of pestering, they finally told him exactly how she died. Spinal meningitis, and no one knew how she got it. But she did, he guessed. He never saw her again. He believed she died because he loved her. Most of his pain converted into blame. He has a photo today her parents sent him with a thank you note for his condolence visit. In spite of his sorrow, he wasn't able to cry, though he wanted to and needed to, for he felt like a killer. He's loved women since, and they didn't die. But he looks at her picture and wonders which ways their lives might have gone if she hadn't have died. This poem is for Rosalind. Okay, we have one left, so we will jump ahead to one of my latest favorite poems. Someone was very scandalized when I announced that a poem was saying this is one of my favorite poems. At the moment, this is with my, Someone once said that your latest poem is your favorite poem. Not always. Okay, this is a piece called 3705 Flagler. The distant lights are dim circles in the darkness, illuminating the bridge, and sparkling participants in a wind-driven water dance. To the west, the sky is a rose-colored reflection of life below. A street borders the shore of a lagoon to the east, and the light in the sky seems to wane. Street lights taper off to the horizon over the causeway that follows the bridge. The barrier island standing between the lagoon and the ocean seems swallowed whole. My melancholy follows my gaze eastward towards the vast weight of the Atlantic, the nearest thing to the infinite in my physical life, and is consumed by the darkness and the depth. I sit in stasis and allow the water, the wind, and the small dim lights to lead me nowhere but where I am. Thank you.